Saluto. Verbs are a little bit more complicated than nouns and adjectives, which is why it gets its own video. There are a lot of verb endings, so I'll be trying to go over as many as I can. As usual, if you want more details, check out the references in the description. Most verb endings take place in either the present tense, past tense, or future tense. You can identify these by the suffixes, which start with a for present tense, I for past tense, and o for future tense. As an example, I'll be using the verb for write, whose root word is scrib. There's scribas, scribis, and scribos, which means write, wrote, and will write, respectively. These tenses are called the simple present, past, and future. There's also scribar, scribir, and scribor, meaning to write, to have written, and to be going to write. These are the infinitive tenses. There's scribanta, scribinta, and scribonta, meaning writing, have written, and is going to write. These are the active participles, and as the ending suggests, they're adjectives. You can either use it to describe something or use it in a verb tense with SR, like esa scribanta for is writing. Similarly, we have scribata, scribita, and scribota, meaning being written, has been written, and going to be written. These are the passive participles, and they're also adjectives. There are two verb endings that are not tied to past, present, or future. First is scribus, which means would write. It's the conditional tense. Second is scribes, which means write. It's the imperative and can be used for things like commands. There are also the perfect tenses, which can be written in two ways. The first way is by adding the verb SR and conjugating it for the tense. Esa scribinta is the present perfect tense and means has been writing. The second way is by adding the affix ab. The second way is by adding the affix ab and adding the conjugation suffix to the end. Scribabis is the past perfect tense and means had been writing. It means the same thing as esi scribinta. The perfect tense can be used for many conjugation forms, but I won't be putting them all here. On to more exciting things, derivation. Verbs can be turned into nouns and adjectives by changing the ending. Of course, this also works the other way around. In some cases, you can just change it directly. If you change a verb into a noun, it will refer to the action of doing the verb. Promenar means to walk, and promeno means a walk. In most cases, you'll have to add an affix. Flugar means to fly, and fluganta means flying, and fluganto means flyer, or one that is flying. It is especially important to add an affix if you're turning a noun or adjective into a verb. This is because using them as a verb directly will usually make the meaning unclear and may have connotations in certain languages. One example would be using the word stone as a verb in English, which has its implications. Salo means salt, and is means to provide, or to add. So, salizar means to add salt. Kolda means cold, and ig means to make, or to render. So, koldigar means to make cold. Of course, these verbs can be conjugated as the rest, so koldigis means made cold. Once you understand all that, I think it's finally time to move on to sentences. Luckily for us, sentences are pretty simple. You just do the same thing as English. They generally follow the subject-verb-object order. Mahabas la nova libro means I have the new book. If you want, you can mark the object by adding an N at the end, which allows you to put the object before the subject. Men havas la nova libro means the new book has me, though of course it might just be easier to rearrange the sentence. Unlike English, you don't have to change word order when making something into a question. You just have to add a question word at the beginning. For yes/no questions, that word is ka or kad, whichever one sounds better to you for that particular sentence. Kavu havas la libro means do you have the book? Other question words include qua, quo, ube, kande, pro quo, and quale. Qua and quo both become qui when asking about more than one thing. And that's basically it. We've covered all the basics of Ito. There is a lot to learn, but this should give you the basic knowledge to explore and figure out the language on your own. I would like to have more places to direct you from here, but I'm sorry to say that I don't have much other than the websites in my reference guide. If anyone knows where to find the Ito community or any big resources to find Ito content, please feel free to comment. I am aware of the Edo Discord, but it isn't very active, and I was able to recover a translation of The Little Prince. The only game I know that has Edo is Minecraft, which I've personally enjoyed playing with a lot. Either way, I hope this little video series helped someone out there, but personally speaking, I'll most likely be moving on to other conlang projects. Thank you very much for watching, and deal revido!